What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how wide receivers can beat a DB who's right up on the line, right in your face in press coverage, and how we can get separation in that situation. So I hope this video helps you guys out. We're going to be showing a good example of what you would want to do in this situation, and then a bad example breaking down some of the common mistakes that wide receivers will make, okay? So like I said, hope this helps you guys out. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave those in that comment section below. And also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want over 500 wide receiver on-field drills and gym exercises broken down into a daily training schedule with sets and reps, check out that very first link in the description below for our ultimate 8-week wide receiver workout plan. It's an 8-week schedule, like I said, over 500 plus exercises throughout this entire program. So check out that very first link below, fellas, if you want to get better this offseason. Let's break this down. So now, first things first, when we get a DB who's right up on the line, you got to understand that there are realistic ways that a DB is going to press you and then unrealistic ways. So a lot of times people, ask us about, like, hey, coach, well, I'm doing one-on-ones, or I'm doing, mainly one-on-ones. That's the main common question that we get asked. I'm doing one-on-ones. This guy's right up on the line, right in my face, and I can't get any separation. What do I do? And when it's one-on-ones, you got to understand that sometimes that's not the most realistic thing in the world. You're on the line of scrimmage. That DB's right on the line of scrimmage as well. Something you could do, because, again, there's no snap count in one-on-ones. There's no hard count. So that DB automatically has the advantage because he knows what sound it's going to be on, and he's not reacting off of you. If he's that guy who just wants to jam you and jump you right off the line and he's guessing the snap count, something you could maybe do when it's one-on-ones, because if he wants to play it unrealistic, so can we. Step off the ball. You're on the line, step off the ball. That automatically creates some more space for yourself. So that's one little tip that you could do. But what if it's not that situation? What if it's a more disciplined kind of jam look? And that's what we're going to talk about here. So this DB shoots his left hand, I believe, and he ultimately misses, and this wide receiver is able to create space off that line. So one of the things that he does really well is stepping outside the DB's frame and actually threatening him. That's one of the key things you have to do on any press release. If you guys are coming off the line and you're going up against a guy who is physical, and you're operating like inside of his frame, what I mean by that is you're taking really choppy steps. You're not actually threatening him inside, threatening him outside, actually stepping there. He's not going to move, fellas. A DB is disciplined. He's going to be watching your hips, and he does not move unless your hips move. Now, what this wide receiver does is, you see how he pops his chest up a little bit? We never want to do this. He got a little bit lucky, and we're going to be showing an example here in a second of a wide receiver who didn't get so lucky and got jammed back a few yards because he popped his chest up. But the reason why we were able to make this DB to miss is solely because he stepped outside the frame. If you guys can step outside the frame and find a way to threaten this DB in a tight space, get open in a phone booth, if you will, that is going to make that DB at least move. And when we can get him to move off that platform, I don't necessarily have to lean back. I could dip the shoulder. I could swat the hands. Like, I could swat with my right hand and rip under with my left hand in this case, but I can't lean back like this. Because if we don't get him to move, he's going to jam. But how we can get that DB to move is by stepping outside the frame and actually threatening him outside. So that's textbook right there in terms of the feet. Just have to clean up that upper body. So let's play at full speed, and now we'll take a look at an example where a DB got jammed and some of the mistakes that he made. So this clip, you guys may have seen this clip before. I believe this was from a camp like a couple weekends ago, I think. But this wide receiver gets jammed back pretty good here. DB makes a good play. See a lot of this type of coverage in camp settings, 7-on-7, where this guy wants to be real physical and just bully you off the line. Now, this whole thing can be avoided if this DB or if this wide receiver doesn't, one, drop his hands, and two, pop his chest up. Now, again, in the last clip, we saw it. The wide receiver had his chest up, hands down. It worked because he attacked outside the DB's frame. But this wide receiver, what he does here is he doesn't really attack anything. He goes forward, but he stands straight up in the air. And when you stand straight up in the air and you try to go forward and close space with the DB, he will get hands every single time. So what you could do on this, maybe some different way you could go about it, is instead of me doing like kind of a hesitation release at him, maybe off the line I give him something quick. I give him a hard jab inside. I actually step outside the frame. I give him a hard jab outside. I actually step outside of his frame here to take an inside release because he's kind of giving you this inside release. But going at him, doing like a hesitation move, popping my chest up, probably not the best way to go about this thing. So fellas, we just have to understand against this physical guy, there are ways to beat this. So many wide receivers panic. So many wide receivers struggle with this. If you guys understand that the way he's going to move is by actually threatening him to a direction, your releases will get much better. So many wide receivers, it's like we, for example, we had a camp in Atlanta a couple months ago, and we had some DBs out there, and they were working our wide receiver jamming them to the sideline, because the releases that they were doing were all the releases that we were talking about, that we were teaching, but they weren't stepping outside the frame. They were just taking the steps. So what we told them is like, hey, step outside the frame, actually threaten him to his leverage, threaten him outside of his leverage. And that's when they started getting separation, because that DB has to make a choice to bite. And if you really step inside of his frame, outside of his frame, keep a good pad level, he's going to have to move, because he doesn't want to get beat on the fade. No DB does. So we have to have that mindset of, I'm going to make him move by stepping outside the frame. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Again, fellas, don't drop the hands. Don't go forward by popping your chest up. Okay, so now this is a situation kind of similar, and I just want to talk about your pad level in this case. Okay, so this is another example, because I know the first two clips, they weren't really necessarily the best pad level position. That first wide receiver kind of leaned back. Second wide receiver stood straight up, essentially leaning back, and got jammed. So this one is an example of good pad level. Maybe not the best footwork like the first clip, but it's a great pad level example against a physical guy. So let's play this thing full speed. So this DB jams him, right? Lunges at him. But this wide receiver does a great job of staying balanced and ultimately finishing that play, simply because he keeps a good pad level. When this DB lunges at you, right, you have to understand, when he lunges, he loses his base. His feet are being left behind. So if you can swat his hands and get his hands off while his feet are in this position, he will be extremely off balanced. Think of it like this, like a balanced sport. Like, let's say you're riding a surfboard, for example. Let's say you're surfing. Are you going to be like leaning way forward with your feet extended? No, you're going to have your feet like a little bit wide underneath you, a knee bend. So that's essentially where a DB wants to stand. That's essentially where a DB wants to be, because he's in a balanced, explosive position. But when he leaves that explosive position, he has no balance. So as a wide receiver, I need to know that if I keep this good pad level off the line, good chest, I don't expose my number, and I can get those hands off and be violent, I'm going to make him lose balance. And when he loses balance, I can get some leverage. Yeah, he might be holding me. Yeah, he might be grabbing me. But at the end of the day, when it comes to press releases, it's about keeping timing with who? Your quarterback, right? So if you keep timing with him because you're in a good pad level, because you got his hands off, because you're working back up vertical, that should be all we need to do. Separation comes at the top of the route, not off the line. So a physical DB who lunges at you, fellas, have a plan with your feet, attack outside the leverage, and if he does want to just try to choke you off the line, just keep a good pad level, stay in a strong base, and swat those hands as quick as possible. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by this wide receiver staying in an explosive spot, fighting those hands, and then working to get back upfield and winning on this deep fade route. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this video helped you out. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. Always great hearing from all of you. You guys help keep this channel going, so we definitely appreciate it. And again, fellas, if you'd like an 8-week wide receiver field and gym workout plan, over 500 different exercises with sets and reps, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.